Hi everybody, it's Miss Elkins. Here to talk to you about your Unit 2 test review. You can follow along with this video and answer the questions on your review in Schoology after you're done. Just going to go through each question by question, and if you have any questions, please send me an email. I'll be happy to answer your questions. Starting with number 1, it says, CJ cut his Milky Way bar into 10 equal parts. He ate 3 parts. Which 2 equations, okay, I'm circling 10 and 3 because those are the important numbers. Which 2 equations show equivalent ways to represent how much of the Milky Way bar is left? Well, the first thing we have to realize is there were 10 pieces. He ate 3, so that means there are 7 pieces left. So he has 7 out of 10 pieces left. It could be represented by 7 divided by 10 or by the fraction 7 out of 10. The other 2 would be backwards, and of course this one has 3, which that's how many he ate, not how many are left. Okay, number 2, which 2 expressions represent 14 over 17? We learned there are 3 different ways of representing division. The numerator is your dividend, the denominator is your divisor. So the 2 correct ways to represent 14 over 17 would be 14 divided by 17 in the long division symbol, or 14 divided by 17 with the division sign in between them. Okay, the other 2 are not right because they are reversed. They say 17 divided by 14. Number 3, write the fraction form of 875 thousandths. This is the reason I don't allow you to say the P word. It is not 0.875. It is 875 thousandths. Now that's a benchmark fraction, so it should be something that you know is equal to 7/8. But if you didn't know that, you could find the greatest common factor of 875 and 1,000, and it's 125, and that equals 7/8. But this right here is why I ask you to remember that this is 875 thousandths. It's 7/8. It's also 87.5%. This is a benchmark situation that you just need to know those so you don't have to do the math each time. Number 4, an equation is missing one value as shown below. So we look at this equation. It says 5/7 times 75 hundredths is equal to 5/7 divided by a number. When we're looking for that number that goes in this box. So if we were to change 5/7 times 75 hundredths to its fraction form, that would be the fraction 3/4. So this is 5/7 times 3/4. And we learned that multiplying by a fraction is the same as dividing by its reciprocal. Actually, that's backwards. Dividing by a reciprocal is the same as multiplying by a fraction, but the deal is it works both ways. That is true both ways. Multiplying by the reciprocal is the same as dividing by the reciprocal. The reciprocal of 3/4 is 4/3. The number that's missing in that blank is 4/3. That'll give you the same answer as 5/7 times 75 hundredths. Okay. It says what number should be placed in the box to make the equation true. All right. So that's 1 through 4. Let's move on. We're on question 5 now. An equivalent multiplication. Write an equivalent multiplication expression to represent 4/5 divided by 5/9. We learned that multiplying by the reciprocal is the same as dividing by a fraction, so we could rewrite this as the multiplication 4/5 times the reciprocal 9/5. So that is equal. sorry, I don't like that 5. That is equal to 4/5 divided by 5/9. It's, remember we learned keep, change, flip. Keep the first fraction, change it to multiplication, flip the second one upside down. Those two things are equal. Number 6, Ricky is making 2½ cups of queso for a party. Write an expression to show how she would find out how many 1/4 cup servings she can make for the party. So what we need to know is how many 1/4 are in 2½. One way to write that would be 2 1/2 divided by 1/4. Another way to write that would be 5/2, because if we change this to improper, 2 times 2 is 2 plus 1 is 5. I'm sorry, 4 plus 1 is 5. We could also write this as 5/2 divided by 1/4. We could also do keep, change, flip, which would be 5/2 times 4/1. All of these expressions are equivalent and would tell us how many servings she can make for the party. Now, if we go ahead and solve it, we'd have to use that last one. And we'd multiply tops times tops and bottoms times bottoms. And we get 5 times 4 is 20. 2 times 1 is 2. If you divide that out, she can make 10 servings. It doesn't ask you for that, but I went ahead and solved it anyway. Number 7, write a multiplication expression equivalent to 7/8 divided by 2/3. Again, I'm going to use the rule for keep, change, flip. 7/8 keep, change to multiplication, flip it upside down. This expression is equal to 7/8 divided by 2/3. You're multiplying by the reciprocal. Number 8, write 3 fractions to go in the blank that make the equation true. It says 1,340 times something is less than 1,340. Any proper fraction could go in this blank. Any proper fraction could go in this blank. Because when you multiply by a proper fraction, you have a decrease. So you could say 1/2, 3/5, 6/7. Any proper fraction would work. And by proper fraction, I mean that the numerator is smaller than the denominator. Okay, these are some true and false questions that have to do with increasing and decreasing. Hopefully you paid close attention to what causes an increase and what causes a decrease. So number 9, true or false? Multiplying 5 times 15/2 will cause an increase. And 15/2 is an improper fraction, and when you multiply by an improper fraction, that will cause an increase. So that is true. Let me just prove that to you. If I multiply 5 times, I don't know, 7/3, multiply 5 times 7, you get 35. 1 times 3, you get 3. And when you simplify that down, 3 will go into 35 11 times with 2/3 left over. And clearly 11 2/3 is an increase over 5. That's a larger number. Number 9, true or false? Multiplying 5 times 2/15 will cause a decrease. That is true, because whenever you multiply by a proper fraction, it always causes a decrease. Let's show that. Let's prove that. 5 times 2/15. I put 5/1, and I'll just multiply tops times tops and bottoms times bottoms. 5 times 2 is 10. 1 times 15 is 15. And if I simplify that down, it becomes 2/3. And yes, 2/3 is a decrease from our original number 5. I just realized that I gave you the wrong example for number 9. I'm going to go back and change my example. Pardon my mistake there. I want to use the fraction that's there. If I multiply 5 times 15/2, that's 5/1 times 15/2. And it's still going to cause an increase. So I multiply top times top. 5 times 15 is 75. 1 times 2 is 2. And 75 divided by 2 would be 37 and a half. And clearly, that's an increase from 5. All right, sorry about that mistake. Number 11, multiplying 5 times 8/9 will cause an increase. Well, 8/9 is a proper fraction, so that is, I'm sorry, this one was true. This one is false. Let's prove it. 5 times 8 over 9. 5 times 8 is 40. 1 times 9 is 9. 9 will go into 40 4 times with 4/9 left over. And 4 4/9 is less than 5, so that is not an increase. Okay. Moving on to number 12. Another true and false question. Multiplying 5 times 15 over 15 will cause an increase. That is false, because 5 over 1 times 15 over 15 will give me 75/15, which is equal to 1. Maybe you realize that this is equal to 1. 15 divided by 15 isn't going to change the value of anything because it equals 1. Number 13, multiplication of a positive number and a number greater than 1 increases the number. That, my friends, is true. And I'm not going to prove it to you. I'm just going to tell you any positive number multiplied by any number greater than 1 will increase that number. Number 14, true or false, multiplication of a number and a number between 0 and 1 increases the number. That is false, because if you multiply a number by a number between 0 and 1, that is going to cause a decrease. For instance, if you multiply 5 times 1/2, you're going to get 5/2, which is equal to 2 1/2. And that's not an increase. Number 15, Mrs. Hale is making 5 5/8 cups of salad for a family reunion. She plans to use 1/4 of a cup for each serving. How many servings of salad is Mrs. Hale making? So I need to divide 5 5/8 by the number of cups in each serving, which is 1/4 of a cup. So to do that, I have to change 5 5/8 to improper. So 5 times 8 is 40, plus 5 is 45/8. And then I'm going to change it to multiplication, and then I'm going to flip it over to the reciprocal. This is a keep, change, flip question because it's division with fractions. So now that I've done that, I'm going to simplify it first. I hope this doesn't confuse you. It seems easier to me, but I'll do it both ways if it helps you. So if I simplify this first, I know that 4 and 8 have a common factor of 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. And now I'm multiplying 45 times 1 and 2 times 1. So that's 45 over 2, which will simplify down to 22 1/2 servings. Now, if you don't like the simplifying beforehand, I'll show you what happens if I don't simplify first. It's 45/8 times 4 over 1. 45 times 4 is 180. 8 times 1 is 8. And then when you simplify that down, you're going to get 45 over 2. And you're still going to get 22 1/2. So, regardless, there's 22 1/2 servings in 5 5/8 cups of salad for her family reunion. Number 16, Mrs. McCaslin bought 2 3/10 pounds of coffee. The total cost was $26.45. How much did the coffee cost per pound? Whenever you find cost per pound, you're going to take the number of things that you buy and you're going to divide it into the amount of money that you spent. So in this case, I'm going to divide $26.45 by the number of pounds of coffee that Mrs. McCaslin purchased. Before I can do this, though, I've got to make 2 3/10 into a whole number. So I'm going to move the decimal over once to make that 23. Whatever I do to the outside, I must also do to the inside. So I'll move it over once on the inside as well. And now I can divide, and that decimal will stay between the 4 and the 5 on the top. So looking at this, dividing, 23 won't go into 2. 23 will go into 26 one time. 1 times 23 is 23. I subtract, I have 3 left over. I bring down this 4. 23 will go into 34 also one time. Notice how I put that 1 above the 4. I don't have any more space after that. I've got to put the next number on the other side of the decimal. 1 times 23 is still 23. When I subtract, I'll get 11. And then finally, I'll bring down that 5. And I already know that 23 times 5 equals 115. So I'm done there. That looks like that coffee costed $11.50 per pound. Okay, because I had to add a 0 on there to make it money, because it's cost, not just 11.5 pounds. It's $11.50. Okay, last question. True or false? If you multiply 3 times 2/3, the product is between 3 and 4. Well, there's one way to make sure of that answer. 3 times 2/3. I made 3 into a fraction. I'll multiply tops times tops and bottoms times bottoms. 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 3 is 3. And 6 divided by 3 is 2. And that is not between 3 and 4, so that answer is false. Please go over this review as many times as you need to, so that you'll understand how to answer these types of questions. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. Look for the test. The link to the test will be in Schoology tomorrow. You'll have to go in and read each question, work the questions out on paper, and answer them in Eduphoria. Just choose the correct answer, and you'll be able to read the questions and or have them read to you if you need them, and answer them in Eduphoria. And don't forget to click on submit when you're done. If you have any trouble or questions, please email me. I will help you. Hope you have a good day. Hope I talk to you soon. Bye.